Hello my precious family, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be chilling inside the Broughtonia Gallery. Have you guys ever visited this place? I guess not, right? Because you need a special invitation in order to visit the Broughtonia Gallery. But consider yourselves lucky because this is where I'll be chilling today, and so I'm going to take you guys along with me. So if you're curious or if you want to know what's inside the Broughtonia Gallery, just stay tuned to this video. Welcome back, friends. I'm now approaching the entrance to the Broughtonia Gallery, and it's a bit windy, so please bear with me. I hope you're hearing me clearly. And as you approach the entrance, there is a sign that says to the Broughtonia Gallery, so right away you know that this area or this entrance leads to the Broughtonia Gallery. And hanging below this sign, which is also one of my DIM projects, as you would have seen in my most recent video where I told you guys that I'm a DIM person, do it myself. I do a lot of projects, and as we enter the Broughtonia Gallery, I'll be sharing with you some more information as to how this project all came about. And this is a Broughtonia that's hanging below the Broughtonia Gallery sign, and we are now at the entrance. And there's a welcome sign. As a matter of fact, there are two welcome signs. This one was done by me. This is a piece of driftwood that I painted. And this is a sign that says, "Friends are the flowers in the garden of life." And over here we have my flag. If you had watched my unboxing video, you would have seen this flag that came along with the items in my box or in the unboxing. And so we are now entering the Broughtonia Gallery, and I'm heading straight to this area. There's this bench that says chill out zone, and as I said before in the video, I will be chilling out in the Broughtonia Gallery today, and this is where I hang out mainly on a weekend because, you know, during the week it's work, so on a weekend this is where I hang out. This is where I have my cup of tea in the mornings on a weekend. And this is the remnants of my almond tree. You know, this almond tree, anyone who grows an almond tree will know that it sheds leaves, and when it sheds its leaves, you will rake from dusk, or from dawn until dusk, I should say. And this is what was happening, and I was in no way going to give up watering my plants or tending to my other plants by raking leaves all day, and I don't like to see leaves in my garden. And what I did, I started to trim back the almond tree, and so it put out a new branch. I would trim it, and I trim it, and it put out a next branch, and I trim it, and I kept doing that. And then one day I realized that there are no leaves on the tree, there are no branches, no new growth. And when I looked, I examined the tree, I realized that it had died. And I felt so badly about it, I felt so sorrowful. And I said to myself, what can I do to make it up to the almond tree that I killed? And I just thought about decorating it with some orchids. And the first thing that came to my mind were the Broughtonia orchids. And so this is what I did, guys. I started to place the orchids on the almond tree. I put about 4 of them on it, and then I realized, oh, but I can put some more and make it look even better. And that is what I did. And so that was how the idea came up about the Broughtonia Gallery. And I decorated this almond tree in order to make up for what I did to it. And most of them are out of bloom now because this project has been in the making for a couple of months. It takes time, friends, to do this. When I'm doing a project, it will take a couple of months because, as I told you before, I am a DIM person. I do things myself, and I have a full-time job, so my projects will take a little time in order for them to be completed. But this is what I did to the almond tree. This is a Broughtonia negrilensis. It bloomed earlier. And these are the Broughtonia sanguinea. And they were placed, well, I never did what Miss Betty did, to use a ladder. What I did was to climb onto the bench that I showed you earlier, the chill out bench. That's what I did. I climbed onto the bench and placed them onto the tree. So this is what the almond tree now looks like. Quite nicely decorated with all these Broughtonia orchids. And it was looking much lovelier when they were all in bloom, because as I said, this project took me months to complete, and by the time I completed it, most of the blooms were gone. But you may have seen where I posted some of the photographs on Instagram, because as I did the project, what I would do was to take clips of what I was doing during the time of the project. And so you may have seen some of those clips on Instagram. Now this is a piece of driftwood that I place here, and this is Mr. Lizard. And you know, normally I see people place these lizards on the walls of their house, but you see, for me, I don't like any lizard to be near my house, so I just kindly put it outside in the garden, and I thought about placing it in the Broughtonia Gallery. So this is Mr. Lizard, and this is another sign. Sunshine and laughter. Sunshine, laughter, and friends are always welcome. And right here is my table where I have my tea. This was also designed by me. And now this area is where I have my cup of tea on a weekend. This is a little antique stove, and I placed a Broughtonia inside of it, in the middle of these antique tea set or teacups, or whatever you may call it, this antique tea set. Oh geez, somebody is stepping on my petunia plants. It says your foot's killing me. Look at this, guys. Here is a foot stepping on my petunia plants. Guys, look at this carefully. This is a piece of driftwood that I took up and I painted it. You don't believe me, right? Well, let me hold it for you to see. Here it is. This is the other side. This is a piece of driftwood that I took up and I painted a shoe onto it and rest it right in here. See, there it is. Do you believe me now? I mean, I dropped my foot on this one. I think I really did. This is the best piece of driftwood that I have in my garden amongst my driftwood collection. This is so unique. This is so cute. This is so real. Oh my gosh. This Broughtonia Gallery is my special, or my favorite. It has become my favorite spot in my garden, because you would have figured it out by now that I'm in my garden. And this is a bamboo that I use, a piece of bamboo that I use to hang some of the Broughtonia Gallery, some of the Broughtonia orchids, I should say. See, Broughtonia Gallery is in my head. All right, and I have Broughtonia growing in baskets, on limbs, on cedar. And over here is a bird cage. My little niece at the time, she took it to me and she said, Auntie, the bird died that I had in this cage. Do you have any use for it? And I said, yes, just leave it there. I know I'll find some use for it someday. And after a while, I put some epidendrum orchids in it, but they never survived for long, and then it was there again, not doing anything. And recently, I placed these Broughtonia orchids inside of the bird cage, and they're doing quite nicely. This place is filled with Broughtonia, my precious friends. This is another piece of Broughtonia orchid, and it's nestled inside a piece of driftwood again. This is a piece of driftwood. This sign, stress-free zone, is also a piece of driftwood. Frog parking only. All others will be towed. These are also pieces of driftwood. And this lizard, I guess it never read the sign that it was for frog parking only, and so it got towed. This is one of my favorite, and you may probably have seen this one on Instagram as well. This is an old motor vehicle tire, and I just painted it. Believe in yourself. And I hung this Broughtonia on it, and this is another Broughtonia species. This is a hybrid in bloom. As I said before, it's quite windy. I'm having a challenge with the wind, so please bear with me, guys, as we go along. So this is the bloom for this Broughtonia. Let me hold it closely for you to see. Yes. It's a bright orange, a vibrant orange with a little tinge of yellow inside the petal. And it's doing quite nicely. It's sitting in a wood basket. And this is also another piece of driftwood with a lantern hanging, because at nights the Broughtonia Gallery is lit with solar lights and lanterns. So these are some more Broughtonia orchids that I have growing right here. And look at this. This is a tomato plant inside of my planter. This is also another bath pan that I repurposed. And I don't know, a tomato, it probably may have been in the compost that I use in the soil. And it is bearing tomatoes. Just look at this. I'll soon have tomatoes to be harvested. And this is another bunch over here. So things do happen, wonders do happen within the Broughtonia Gallery. This is another piece of wood with Broughtonias from the top going all the way down. And this is another one right here. And this right here is also a piece of driftwood that I took up and I painted it, because to me it looked like an animal crawling. So I just painted it to decorate the Broughtonia Gallery. So you see, guys, with all this painting and all this, putting stuff together, it took quite a while. This is another sign. Let us find time to give peace a chance. Another of my creation. And this is a little Tolomnia orchid, a native Tolomnia that I have growing here. It is still in bloom. So tiny, yet so cute. And I should tell you too that this is another gerber plant that I have here. This one blooms orange. It's in bloom right here, but it's not yet opened. And inside this planter, well, this is also another bath pan that I painted and used as a planter, is this solar spotlight. So at nights, the Broughtonia, the almond tree is lit with the Broughtonias, and it's quite beautiful. So even at nights, you can come inside the Broughtonia Gallery. You can visit the Broughtonia Gallery and be at peace. It's quite tranquil here. It's peaceful. I tell you, when I'm in this area, there is no other care in the world. I just sit and relax and enjoy the scene inside this gallery. And this is another section of the Broughtonia Gallery where I have some ground orchid growing. They are not in bloom. I recently relocated them to this area because where they weren't looking so nice. They weren't thriving. And since I relocated them to the gallery, they're doing so much better. They're looking quite healthy, and I hope, well, I'm seeing a bloom on this one right here. And I have about 5 or 6 different varieties growing here, 5 or 6 different colors. This is a native Brassavola orchid, Brassavola nodosa or Brassavola cattleya. This is a basket with Broughtonia orchids in it. And this is another Broughtonia hybrid. This one is crossed, so it's an hybrid. This also is another Broughtonia. This one is yellow. It bloomed recently. And this is another piece of Broughtonia orchid. And another one right here. I tell you, I had to name this place the Broughtonia Gallery because it's a Broughtonia affair inside this place. Everything is just about the Broughtonias, even though I have other plants. These are some caladium that I placed here for beautification and in order to camouflage some of the holes in the blocks right here. I just use the caladium plants and they're doing quite nicely. And this, my friends, this is a fan cover with Tolomnia and Broughtonia. And right here you can see an ear plant, Tillandsia, also known as the ear plant, and it's in bloom. All I did was to stick it inside the fan cover with the Broughtonia and the Tolomnias as decoration. This is another fan cover with Broughtonia orchids nestled inside of it. And this little stick here, I just put it on to the shepherd's hook because it has some little Tolomnia orchids on it. They're like babies, but yes, they bloom because if you look closely you will see the dead spike or the dried spike right here. So they were in bloom. And right here is another Tolomnia orchid. This is a pandanus plant. I make use of it by putting the Tolomnia and the Broughtonias onto it. And this is a Tolomnia nestled inside of a coconut husk, and around here is another Tolomnia inside the coconut husk, and there's another one here on a piece of fern bark. This one bloomed recently. The blooms are gone now. Look at the spike on it. The spike is like 18 inches tall. And so guys, we are now at a little spot where I have this piece of driftwood, and what I did was to stick some Tillandsia or ear plants inside of the pockets of the driftwood. And look at this, I never even noticed this before. This Tillandsia is in bloom, and as you can see, this is a Tolomnia right here, and this is a Broughtonia, and right here I stick another ear plant, and this one is in bloom as well. And right here I have a staghorn fern, which I've had for about 3 years and not doing anything where I had it hanging. And the moment I place it onto the driftwood, it just started expanding. And right behind the staghorn fern is a fern planter, and I have Tolomnia orchids nestled inside of it with some ear plants. And this is one of the Tolomnia, the bloom, this little one here. And this is another Broughtonia on the pandanus plant and also on this piece of stick. And in this tire is another of my ground orchid. And right here I have my Dendrobium aggregatum, waiting on it for some blooms. I've been waiting for many years. This plant was given to me by my good friend, Mrs. Monica Walcott. I've been cherishing it because, you know, when persons give you an orchid, you know, you need to cherish it. Don't let it die. And Mrs. Walcott, I'm here waiting for blooms. And I know one day, I think it bloomed once, many years ago. but I'm still waiting for some blooms, and I know one day it will give me some blooms, which I'll share with you, Mrs. Walcott. Thank you very much. And this is my Dendrobium parishii. It has one little bloom on it, but I'm still grateful. It's a tiny plant. And guys, you know, when I just bought this plant, you know, I bought it from AgroGrace a couple of years ago. And a few months after I brought it home, and I bought it on this piece of, seems to be cedar. And I mounted it on this fern bark because the cedar was so small. So I put it on the fern bark for it to expand. And one morning I was watering it, I don't see any leaf on it, and I said, oh my gosh, I killed the plant. And I was so unhappy. But I kept on watering it. Every time I watered the other orchids or I was in the area watering, I would water it just as well, even though in my mind it had died. And you know, a couple of probably weeks after that, I noticed one morning I went to water it, I saw some flower buds on it. I was so surprised because I did not know the orchid was deciduous, which means it sheds its leaves in order for it to bloom. Yes, that was what happened, and I was so happy. And even though it has not grown much, it still gives me bloom. Look at this. This is just one little bloom, but it is still a bloom, and I am quite thankful. It is so pretty. And in this basket now, I have a variety of orchids. This is an Encyclia. I'm running out of space. I don't really have much space to hang, so anywhere I can find a little space, guys, I will hang something. And this is another Broughtonia. It looks similar to the one that I showed you just now. The orange is more vibrant. This is pale, and it has the tinge of yellow within the lip. Petals are orange and there's yellow within the lip or inside of the lip of the bloom. And over here is another Broughtonia. This one is pink with a little white and yellow within the center of the lip. And over here, this seems to be another Brassavola nodosa. And I almost missed this one here. This is a white Broughtonia. This is so beautiful. It's quite windy, so I'm having a challenge here. Right, this is it, guys. White Broughtonia. And we're heading back up into the gallery. Over here I have some epidendrum orchids. They were in bloom the other day, but the blooms are all gone now. And I'm using this pandanus plant again to give some filtered shade, and also I use it also as a hanger to hang some of the orchids. And so we're going to head down into the gallery. We're going to be going onto this bridge, and I must tell you guys that this bridge was built from discarded materials from construction on my house. So they were just lying there, these pieces of lumber, and I just asked somebody to use them and make a bridge for me, and here it is. And if you look at the handle of this bridge, I'm not going to tell you what it is. If you look carefully, you may be able to recognize what I used to make the handle of the bridge, or the rail for the bridge. And here again, I have some more Broughtonia orchids. I tell you, Broughtonia can't done in this place. Look at this, guys. This is another Broughtonia area. This Broughtonia still has quite a few blooms on it. Let me go around this side to give you a better view. And right here, I have some epidendrum orchids growing. This is the remnants of a coconut tree that was destroyed by Hurricane Ivan in 2004. And since I can't take it all up, I can't take up the root, I just used some epidendrum orchids to decorate the area. This is also another driftwood that I took up. It looked like something, I don't even know. I was saying it looked like a crocodile, but all I did, I just painted and put on eyes, mouth and teeth on it. I love to do some crazy things, you know, guys. And up here is my beautiful parrot made from recycled motor vehicle tire. And no, guys, I didn't do this one. This would have taken me months to sit and carve. I would need to have a special tool. So this one was acquired for my garden. This one is not one of my DIM projects, but who knows, one of the days when I find the time, I may try it. I may just try it and show it to you guys. And I have some Broughtonia orchids inside of the parrot and Tolomnia orchids. And on this tree here, it's an ackee tree. If you look up, you can see some ackees on the tree. Some of them can be harvested. And so we're gonna go onto the bridge and head down into the gallery. We're almost at the end of the gallery. And I have growing around the ackee tree some foliage, syngonium plants mainly. And also on the ackee tree, I've placed a piece of Broughtonia for it to hold on to the tree. I placed this there perhaps about 2 months ago, so it's still, the roots are still not holding firmly onto the tree. But there it is, quite healthy. The leaves are tall and they're much larger than the other Broughttonias. And this is another piece of Broughtonia that I placed on the ackee tree. Not holding on to it as yet because I placed it about 2 months ago as well. So the roots have not yet held on to the ackee tree. And it has a nice bloom up here. And so I think we may have come to the end of another video. Before I go, this plant is a hosta, and so hasta la vista, goodbye, see you soon. I just played on the word hosta and did this sign. This is also a piece of driftwood. Both the stake and the sign, they're pieces of driftwood. So hasta la vista. I hope you enjoyed the Broughtonia Gallery and its contents. And if you would like to visit the Broughtonia Gallery or come and have a cup of tea with me inside the Broughtonia Gallery, leave me a comment. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time, my precious family, take care, walk good, and be safe.